Hey, book lovers. Welcome to While I Read. I'm Katie Dodrell, and today I'm going to be doing a fun summer reading vlog. As you can see, I've got a special guest. Who is this with me today?
Sarah.
My little girl, Sarah. She is out of pre-K for the summer, and so she's going to be doing some filming with me today. We lost Sarah. She decided she wanted to go play. So, this is my first reading vlog. I'm kind of nervous about it. You know, a reading vlog is a little different from just a regular video that I would film. Normally, I just write the script and I film the video all at one time. But for a reading vlog, you're kind of filming it in real time as you read the book. So I'm excited about it, but nervous also. I watched a lot of reading vlogs before I did this. One of the first ones I watched was somebody who was in their bed reading in their pajamas and talking about the book as they read. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't do a reading vlog. I'm just not confident enough yet to be reading in my pajamas and filming that as I'm doing it. But then I watched some other reading vlogs and I realized there are a lot of different ways you can do it. And I can make my own rules for it. So things are a bit informal. Sarah's probably going to be wandering in and out. I'm going to be reading some of the book here at my house, and then Sarah and I are going to my parents' farm to spend the night, so I'll probably be reading some of it there. I guess I should tell you what book I'm reading. I'm going to be reading The Last Time She Saw Him by Kate White. This was one of my most anticipated books for the month of May. It just came out. For me, it was when I'm filming this, it was this past Tuesday. I'm not exactly sure when this video will air, but it's just come out. I'm really excited to start reading it. I'm going to be reading it on my Kindle, and I'm going to be updating you as I read. From the synopsis, I know that it's about a woman named Kiki whose ex-fiance seemingly dies by suicide. Kiki starts suspecting that it was actually murder, but nobody believes her, so she starts investigating. And to quote the synopsis, she finds something far more sinister than she'd imagined. So I'm going to start reading. I'll update you a few times as I read, and we will see how it goes. Wish me luck on my first reading vlog. Okay, so it's later the same day that I filmed the intro. I'm about 25% into the book now. Sarah has been really good about playing independently and given me a lot of time to read. We've also done some fun things together. What all have we done, Sarah?
Family walk.
We did a family walk.
Walk with mommy.
Yeah, we walked. We went for a walk and we played in the park, didn't we? What else did you do? Did you do some puzzles?
Yes.
We did some puzzles. You played independently?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have had a really good day, but Sarah has also given me some time to read. So I'll talk about the book some. Just so you know, everything I'll say here is in the synopsis or the first few pages of the book, or either it's a very minor detail, so you don't have to worry about spoilers. The book starts with a prologue, a very short prologue. It's about a woman who's in the woods with a man. It seems like they're near some kind of carnival or fair. They're kind of talking. The woman's uncomfortable. It seems like the man attacks her at the end of it. We don't really know who this woman is in the prologue. The prologue is written in third person point of view. And then when the book starts, it's written in first person point of view from the character named Kiki. So, we don't know who it is in this prologue or how it relates to the rest of the book. So I'm very intrigued by that. And there are some clues about it as you continue with the book. Chapter 1 opens as Kiki is going to a party at her friend Ava's house. Ava lives at a beautiful house, basically a country estate in Litchfield County, Connecticut. A lot of times, Kate White writes about these rich people. I always think of them as being older than I am because they talk differently. They call each other darling and dear, but really, they're usually not that much older than I am. Actually, the main character, Kiki, is 37, which is younger than I am, but I think they're just more sophisticated than I am. So Kiki's at this party and she's nervous because she knows her ex-fiance Jamie is going to be there. There are also a bunch of Jamie's friends and family at the party. I guess because they are mutual friends with Ava, who's throwing the party. They live nearby. So things are deliciously awkward. I definitely would not have gone to this party, and that's just one reason why I would not be a good character in a book. Kiki talks to Jamie, her ex fiance, at the party, and things are awkward but not terrible. But then at the end of the party, they hear a gunshot and Jamie is found dead. The cops come to investigate and they seem to be thinking that it might be a suicide. So let's talk about what I like so far in this book. One thing I like, Kate White's characters always have cool jobs. This character, Kiki, is a career coach. And the book goes into how she got into that job. I won't explain it. I'll let you discover it as you read. But it's really neat how it kind of goes into her backstory and how she ended up getting into this career that she loves now. I also really like the setting of this book, this beautiful home in Litchfield, Connecticut. One thing that's kind of funny to me, they keep talking about the solarium in the house. A lot of parts of the book take place in the solarium. I swear I had never heard the word solarium until just recently, a month or so ago, when I went on my cruise and there was a solarium on the ship. But now it's talking about the solarium in this home. I had always heard a room like that in a home called a sunroom, but I guess if you're really sophisticated, you call it a solarium. I love how Kate White's characters always go to neat places. Like this book starts at the country house with the solarium, and then Kiki goes back to New York. And then she goes back to Litchfield as she's investigating this death and stays at an Airbnb. It just always describes the places where they go so well, and they're always kind of neat places that are fun to read about to me. So there are a couple of things that I don't like about the book. The main thing is that it's a little hard for me to try to keep up with all the characters. There are a lot of Jamie's friends and relatives who are either at the party or they're mentioned. Like his good friend is there, his cousin's wife is there, there's an uncle who's mentioned. I'll read you a section from the book so you can see how it's a little confusing. I take a few more swigs of water, dig my phone from my purse, and call Heather Larson, the second wife of Jamie's Uncle Drew, who's 20 years her husband's junior. Is that confusing to you? I'm like, wait a minute, who's Heather? Who's she married to? So it's just a little confusing with all the different characters and family members, but hopefully that will get easier as I keep reading the book. Also, here's something I've noticed about Kate White's books. She never capitalizes the word God. Like if she says something like, only God knows the answer, God will be lowercase. I've always been taught and taught my students that if you're referring to the Christian God, the God of the Hebrews, you capitalize it. But she never does that in this book and in her other books as well. Is she making a statement here? I don't know, but I don't like it. Overall, though, I really like the book. I've read 25% of it very quickly. I think that's about 80 pages. I read on my Kindle and I don't have it showing me the page number, but I checked and I'm on page 79 right now. So I've read about 80 pages pretty quickly. I'm looking forward to continuing to read. I think Sarah and I are going to go to my parents' farm today and spend the night with them. So there will probably be lots of swimming, playing outside, riding around, looking at the cows, hopefully picking some strawberries. So we're going to be kind of busy. I'm not sure how much time I'll have to read, but we'll see, and I'll update you again soon. Hey everybody, I'm back for another update. So I am about 61% of the way done with the book now. I'm on page 181 of 301. So I've read a decent bit of the book. I've been at my parents' farm with Sarah, so I didn't have a lot of time to read. It's been about 24 hours since my last update. I had a little bit of time after Sarah went to bed last night, and then this morning while she was watching TV and hanging out with my parents some. So I'm definitely still engaged with this book, but I can tell it's not going to be one of my favorites by Kate White. In this section of the book, Kiki is looking for answers about Jamie's death, even though a lot of people are telling her that she's probably not going to find answers. So let's talk about the things that I'm liking in the book. For one thing, I still like the setting. I like the Airbnb where Kiki is staying and where some strange things have happened. She's driving around in the area as she kind of finds clues or is looking for clues. And I like the description of this rural area of Connecticut. One thing that I always like in Kate White books, she describes food really well to me. I wanted to read you one excerpt where she's eating with her friend. As she pours each of us a glass from the pitcher on the table, I settle into a chair and survey the food she's laid out. A bowl of chicken salad, a platter of sliced bright red tomatoes dressed with pesto sauce, a small dish of black Greek olives, and a sliced baguette. So that just sounds like the perfect little summer lunch to have with a friend. So I always like those aspects of Kate White books. Another thing that I like in Kate White books, maybe similar to what I was just talking about with the food descriptions, her books are not cozy mysteries at all. They're definitely thrillers, but she does have a lot of cozy descriptions in them. What I just read you about the food seems fairly cozy to me, and I'm going to read you another excerpt where she's talking about going back to her house, her Airbnb where she's staying. I'm overwhelmed with a desire to return to the quiet and peace of the rental house on Ash Street. Once I'm back, I fill the tea kettle with water and open the kitchen windows. From somewhere in the trees comes the shrill, insistent whine of a dog-day cicada, a sound I found mesmerizing as a girl, but that feels unsettling today. So I always enjoy how Kate White can have these really cozy descriptions, but then she can also kind of bring back some of the nervousness or anxiety that the characters are feeling because, of course, the main character suspects that a murder has taken place. So there's definitely been more that I've liked about the book than that I've disliked, but there are some things that I dislike in it. There's been a pretty big coincidence in the book that's just sort of, I felt like it was just glossed over a little bit. Maybe it's going to turn out that it wasn't such a big coincidence and it won't bother me as much. We'll see how that goes. There's also been a fairly big reveal, or what I think was supposed to be a big reveal, that I had suspected beforehand. So I kind of didn't like it that I wasn't surprised by that. There's one character who's a fairly big character in the book who I don't really like that much. And I'm just wondering, are we supposed to like this character? Are they going to end up kind of having a redemption, or maybe they're going to be bad throughout? I just don't know. So I've kind of got to see what happens with that. Of course, we still don't know whether Jamie's death was a suicide or a murder, as Kiki suspects. I'm thinking it was probably a murder since this is a thriller book, but I don't know. So I've been thinking of ideas of who might be the murderer, as you can't help doing when you're reading any kind of thriller or murder mystery. There have been a lot of characters introduced. I can see how several of them might have motives. Of course, in Kate White books, in most mystery thrillers, there are usually characters who are kind of red herrings. Maybe they do have something nefarious going on, but they're not actually the murderer. I do have an idea about who the murderer might be. I'm going to see if I'm right at the end of it. There's a character who's been introduced, and I can't figure out a reason for that character to be in the book unless they're the murderer or related to the murder somehow. So we'll have to see what happens. I want to see if I'm right about that. I've read a lot of Kate White books, so I think that makes me just a little more likely to be able to guess who the killer is, but she has surprised me before, so we'll see if she does it this time. There are definitely a lot of things that I'm still wondering about, still curious to find out as I'm reading this book. Remember, I told you there was a prologue where a woman seemed to be attacked. That has been brought up a little bit more. We're finding out more about that as the book continues. There are also some unresolved events from Kiki's past that have been mentioned a few times. And I feel like we're going to get some more information about that. And I'm looking forward to finding out more about these unresolved events. So I'm definitely still engaged with this book, still curious about it. I'm looking forward to continuing to read it and hopefully finishing it this afternoon or tonight. I'm really excited because I have the rest of the afternoon to read. Sarah is spending another night with my parents. I'm out for summer break. It's been a rainy day. I am just so happy about getting to curl up and read for the rest of the afternoon. So that's what I'm going to do now. I will update you again when I'm done with the book. Well, I'm back for my final update. I'm done reading The Last Time She Saw Him. I finished it last night. I had a great day reading yesterday. It ended up being a thunderstorm yesterday afternoon, so I got to curl up on the couch and read. Reading during a rainy day or a thunderstorm is just the absolute best. It's still kind of stormy this morning. You may hear some thunder as I'm filming this. So, if you remember, I had made my prediction yesterday about who the murderer was. And I have to tell you, I was mostly right about it. It was actually a little more complex than what I had guessed, but my guess was mostly right. I won't say anything more to avoid spoiling it. Being able to guess who the murderer was didn't really make me like the book less. Actually, it kind of made me feel smart because I was able to guess it. I liked how the ending wrapped things up. I always love Kate White's heroines. They're usually independent, strong, smart, capable women. For a while, I felt like this character, Kiki, was not quite as independent or smart as some of Kate White's other heroines, but I did like how the book wrapped things up for Kiki. I felt like she kind of set some boundaries that she needed to set, and I liked the plans that she was making for the future. So, this is not one of my favorite Kate White books, but I did enjoy it. I read it in just a couple of days, less than 48 hours, so it's definitely a fun, engaging read. I would definitely recommend it. I've had a lot of fun making this first vlog. It has been a little harder to shoot than the other videos that I've done where I've been able to just shoot them all at one time. I suspect that it will be a little harder to edit as well, but I've had a lot of fun showing you a little bit more of my life. Hopefully the video will turn out good and I can do more vlogs in the future. As always, if you liked this video and you want to see more book recommendations and reviews, please subscribe to my channel. Now, go play a board game while I read.